of the student loan scheme. Education Minister Tunji Alausa described the reported infractions in the loan disbursement process as very disturbing and extremely concerning. However, NELFUND has maintained that no funds have been mismanaged, stolen, or left unaccounted for under the scheme. The student loan scheme was introduced by President Bola Tinubu to provide indigent students with easier access to higher education. To date, NELFUND has disbursed a total of 53 billion naira to students. And now to discuss this, we're joined by Business and Public Affairs or Public Policy. Again, let's just get started, shall we? I mean, what types of violations are typically investigated in the student loans programs? Predatory lending, unauthorized interest rates, or discriminatory practices? What are we looking at?
Well, that is a melting pot of so many violating practices that could be associated with the disbursement of funds in Nigeria. And this is not the first time this alleged problems and alleged malpractices are, coming on scene. We had complaints like this back in the 70s, and we had issues where even the loans that were disbursed to the various beneficiaries were never, paid back. So it boils down to the mechanisms and the structures that were actually put in place, hoping that they were not put in place to score political points, but actually to benefit the teeming millions of indigent students that do not actually have access to funds, but actually have the mental and intellectual faculty to want to get educated at the tertiary level. But I'm still monitoring the reportage on the subject matter. It is still hearsay. It is we did this, we didn't do this, and there are a couple of discrepancies in the figures. But whilst we would appreciate the initiation of this program, this beautiful, smart, strategic initiative, I think it's also a welcome development, and it's a new leaf that we can say, a new branch that is growing in Nigeria, where malpractice like this are brought to the fore, whistles are blown about it, and then quick action is taken to nip any shady will actually reveal the skeletons in the cupboard. And I hope that if there's anything that has actually gone wrong with the system, the culprits will be brought to book, and justice will be done, but justice will be brought to the culprits, as it were.
And then it begs to ask, what are the key performance indicators used to assess the effectiveness of student loan policies in protecting borrowers?
Things actually work in the developed societies. We can't use the same key performance indicators to measure the same funds and the same handful of people that will say that they have benefited from this. But we have seen some adverts, some reportage here and there of students that have actually benefited from it. Well, I think on the question matter and the subject matter that comes to key performance indicators, I don't want to be short-termish on that. I want to be long-termish on that. I want to see a situation whereby those that are beneficiaries of these loans will also have the integrity to pay back in Nigeria, because it's one of the first 40 globally competitive economies in the world by the year 2040, at least.
I mean, but then we have to look at implications, what might be the broader socio-economic implications of systemic violations within a student loan administration that is supposed to buffer solution and achieve, the goals that you just mentioned earlier.
Well, I was discussing with a friend of mine a couple of days back, and we're looking at the major sociological infractions that actually characterize the Nigerian social structure and milieu. And while we want to point accusing fingers or want to start looking at gray and shady areas of what is done or what is not done, I think it boils down to the fact that the management and the disbursement of these loans. But much more than that, we need to start addressing the cultural deficit that we have. It would appear that these practices have become ingrained and entrenched in our culture, and then the culture of silence, the culture of zero punishment seems to follow. Now, if some people are actually guilty of this, the next thing you hear is that they can afford to hire some senior advocates of Nigeria that will defend them. And whilst people in some states in the Federation have been sentenced for murder, sentenced with capital punishment for just stealing chicken or stealing 5,000 naira, these people are able to wiggle their way out of the hands of the law and escape Lady Justice, as it were. So it's a bad pointer. It's a bad signal for the younger generation and for emerging administrators if this kind of culture of impudence and corruption continues to be the major output of our character deficit. So we should look at it from the cultural angle. We should look at it from the lack of control mechanisms, and most importantly, we must, from the leadership of the country, a lot of malpractices, and nobody seems to care as long as people are able to get away with it. So it is a good pointer that this is coming to the fore, and this has not been swept under the carpet at all. But let's not forget, these are mere allegations. We hope that the truth will finally come out at the end of the day.
Well, I mean, Kenneth, one thing you pointed out is that this issue speaks to institutional, better yet, societal. Only time will tell. Kenneth, I must say thank you for taking out the time to join us. Kenneth Ikenwa, business and public policy analyst, has given us a bit of insight following allegations of investigation, legal deductions from institutional fees paid by the Nigerian Education Loan Fund on behalf of beneficiaries.